If you could have done better, you know you could have done better, and you don't think you represented yourself in the right way, or at that time that is where you were in your journey, but now you are improving and you're a better man, apologize, give a reason, and move accordingly. And from this day forth, do better, because the best apology is change behavior. Some of us have got kids with a woman we're not with, and it's tough. It's tough for us as men not living and being with our children every single day. Some of us have had a tough time. Some of us have been dragged through the mud and gone through hell having kids with the wrong woman. It was a nightmare. You're jumping through hoops to try and see them, trying to drop them off. She's not there. You're waiting for them to be dropped off to you. She's arriving late. She goes missing. You've got the kids. You can't find her. More money. She wants more from you. She's got a new man and she starts moving kind of shady. She don't let you see them. There's so many different scenarios when you're parenting and you're not with the child's mom. Maybe you were treated so badly and you had to take a step back. Maybe you moved on and you found another woman and you're trying to build something with a woman that really cares about you, and your baby mother done everything in her power to mess up the new relationship. There's so many different scenarios, and while we're fussing and fighting, not talking to each other, you're not talking with her, so when she's mad with you, you can't see the kids. In between all this fussing and fighting, the kids suffer. You might have had a good woman, but you didn't step up to the plate like you should have. You wasn't in a position to do the things you wanted to do and needed to do. Mentally, you weren't ready, too young. Could it have been what you saw as you were growing? How was your relationship with your father? How was the relationship between your mom and your dad? Were you doing what your dad did? It's whatever the reason. We have to remember as adults, as we trying to parent, we both love the children. In these scenarios, the kids suffer. The kids always suffer. And there's no point concentrating and worrying about what she did and what she didn't do. What did you not do? What could you have done better? Could you have done more? Could you have controlled your emotions more? Were you in love with her and she got rid of you, and to get her back, you acted a certain way? You acted like a sucker. She found a new man and you started moving funny. The kids suffer. The kids are the ones who are losing in this situation. There comes a time and a point where, brother, you just have to apologize for your part in this whole situation and apologize to them kids. Whatever the scenario and how we ended up where we are, if you know deep down inside of you, you could have done a better job and you could have done better, apologize to those kids for not turning up. You planned to. Maybe you were living the fast life out here on the road. Maybe you were embarrassed, unorganized. You had bad time management. Whatever the reason. Most of us do have a reason to apologize to our children. Start there. Decide you're going to be better. Decide you're going to do better. Let them know what you're going to do. Apologize for what you didn't do and you understand it, because how we raise them, there's a possibility that they're going to raise their kids the same way. Your grandchildren, your legacy. I have fallen victim to some of those scenarios I alluded to earlier, and I apologize to my children for my shortcomings. I fumbled my way through fatherhood because I was fumbling my way through manhood. And I'm not ashamed to say that. And you should not be ashamed to admit that. What you should be ashamed at is continuing to do the rubbish you was doing before. Continuing to stay where you are and not grow and not improve. I take fatherhood just as serious as my manhood. It's something I had to learn also. I had to study. I had to teach myself. I had to seek coaching, counseling, mentorship, Who really sits down and teaches us how to be fathers? Who really teaches us how to learn conflict resolution? It's like dynamite when you add children in the mix of a breakup. It magnifies problems. It can make you act irrational and do things out of character. And I'm sure all of us have done something that we regret or handled the situation incorrectly, or we know we could have handled the situation better. Maybe you may have said things and made little comments around your kids, or dealt with their mum wrong in front of them. We all have regrets. We all make mistakes. But from this day forth, make a pact. Make a declaration to yourself after you've apologized to them kids and do better. Strive to be the best version of yourself and the best parent you can be. I don't want to hear that, but she. That's what I used to say to myself. Well, if she ain't, well, I'm not, so she ain't, and she ain't, so I'm not. Like that. There's nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. These kids, you got to put your ego aside. Sometimes you got to eat a shit sandwich, bro, to make sure the continuity of family continues and you stay with your children. Because I'll tell you this, when you're out of the house, your children are wide open and vulnerable to be taught to become someone else or something else with different ideologies and philosophies. You know how it goes. You see your kids every 2 weeks. You miss them. You get them for the 2 weeks. And when they come and you're with them, you spend the whole weekend, instead of being a father, the cool dad, chilling, relaxing, trying to rewire their brain and give them the parts of you and try and change the way they're thinking. Sunday night, they go home. They're away for the 2 weeks. And they just fall back into what you try to deprogram them with. So, if you're not there and you're seeing them once a week, once every 2 weeks, you have to go OTT. You have to be involved. You have to try and maintain some sort of working relationship with the mother, no matter what she's done, no matter who she is, no matter how she acts. Obviously, there's boundaries and there's a point and there's a limit. Don't let her walk all over you. Don't let her just blatantly take the piss out of you and disrespect you in a way has a negative impact on your self-image. But you're going to have to play the game because you know you're sacrificing for the greater good and the bigger picture. And if it's that bad, let's be honest, you got to go court. You got to go court. Get yourself a good lawyer and take her to court. Make sure you get your visitation. You want it. You want to co-parent. You want it 3 days a week for her, 3 days a week for you, every single weekend for this time. Take her to court if you have to. But first and foremost, if you have done things and fallen short in those areas of parenting, apologize to your children. Because if you don't, as they grow, these are going to be a factor and an issue. If they're young, 10 years old and younger, it might not be an issue now. But what happens when they're 16, 18, 21? Clear the air. Start again. Let them know where you are at. You cannot be so arrogant to think, I'm the parent, I don't have to say nothing. I don't have to explain myself to no one. You're my kid. I'm the parent. Yeah, remember that. You're the parent. They're the kid. You always have to be a parent. Your kid is going to be all sorts of things. Explain. You don't have to go into major detail, but let them know you understand. Let them know you thought about it. Let them know you wish you could have done better, and you're going to do this, and you're going to try harder, and make them understand that we have to keep a dialogue open and have a relationship. You're teaching them to talk things through. You're teaching them to express themselves, and then they'll be able to open up to you in the future, and you can understand how they feel and where they're coming from. Build a relationship with your children. It's not do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. It is a relationship. It's give and take. You have to learn each other. You're putting more effort into the relationship you're having with your girl. The relationship with your kids is very important. They have feelings. They're human beings as well. You don't want to wait till they're 30 to realize they felt a certain way, or They're holding feelings about something that you could have spoken about in the moment and nipped it in the bud and instead of leaving it for 15 years and letting it fester. Back to the message. If you could have done better, you know you could have done better, and you don't think you represented yourself in the right way, or at that time that is where you were in your journey, but now you are improving and you're a better man, apologize, give a reason, and move accordingly. And from this day forth, do better, because the best apology is change behavior. I had kids very young. In my early 20s, I was a boy trying to be a man. And then I had to try and teach a child, it was a child teaching a child how to be a man. I heard a psychologist say, a man and a woman has 4 children, 2 brothers, 2 sisters. Every single child has different parents. I'm like, but what? They have the same mum and dad. He went on to say that what it is that every single child gets a different version of the parent because the parent is learning how to be a parent. So the youngest tends to get a different and sometimes better version of a parent than the oldest child because they were the tester. They learned how to be a parent from the first one. My children, same. My first child witnessed and experienced me differently than my youngest child. I had to get better. I had to learn. So there definitely was a point where I turned around and I apologized to him and I explained to him and made him understand where I was coming from and how we're going to do things going forward and how we can maintain the right relationship and find out what he needs and what he missed out on so I can give it to him and be the parent I'm supposed to be and want to be, and so he can feel loved, appreciated like your child should. But look, these are just things I think about as I evolve as a man. HEvolvingMedia. The Hevolution will be televised. These are tough topics, but we have to deal with them so we can move on and be the best versions of ourselves. Keep working, my bros. Peace.